Welcome to Momentum Investing, property investing made easy. One of the world's top podcasts on property investing, bringing you the top experts in the field so you can learn firsthand what it takes to create passive income and take control over your financial future.
Welcome to the Momentum Investing Podcast. My name is Daniel Wood. I am your host and one of the founders of Momentum Property Education. What does it take to succeed as a property investor? Well, above all else, it takes persistence. It takes the courage to keep going, even when things take longer time than we expect, even when we face setbacks. But how do you find that courage? How do you find that persistence? Well, that's why we brought on today's episode my mentor, Arnon. Arnon has coached thousands of entrepreneurs all over the world and helped them find that extra level. So in today's episode, he's going to share with you how you can take your game to that next level and make sure that no matter what happens, you will become successful. So enjoy the episode and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to the Momentum Investing Podcast. I am excited to be back with Arnon, one of my mentors who's helped me when I needed help to turn around my business. We're going to talk about how do you succeed as an entrepreneur, as an investor? What does it take? What kind of mindset do you have to have? And what differs those who succeed from those who don't? So Arnon, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Daniel. Great to be here. Good to see you again. The last time we spoke, I just enjoyed my time with you and spreading light to all your members and followers. So blessed to have another opportunity to spread some positivity to all the business owners, business leaders, and investors out there.
Oh, we're super excited to have you. Let's get right into the details because you've worked with so many people around the world. You have so much experience from working with literally thousands of entrepreneurs and investors. You've seen what is the difference between those who become incredibly successful and those who don't. Let's start there.
I think it's a really great question. I've toyed with this idea a lot, trying to break down what are the key elements that differentiate the winners from the learners, right? And and one of the key things that I've seen with successful people, wealthy people, people who are achieving and accumulating assets and generating passive income and succeeding in their own shape, in their own right, in their own form. I think one of the key things that I see is that the people who struggle, the learners, let's call them the learners, right? I think what I see that is a constant is that the learners, they're always waiting. They're always waiting for the perfect moment. They're waiting for all the stars to be aligned. They're waiting, now's not the right time. Next week, I like to start things on a Monday. I don't like starting things on a Thursday or a Wednesday. I need the right kind of weather. I need the right kind of sneakers. I need the right kind of gear. I need the right website. I need the perfect CV. And so I think one of the big distinctions that I see with the successful, the wealthy, the go-getters, the learners always waiting for the perfect moment. The successful, the wealthy, they just go. And that I think is a big, big thing that differentiates the two groups. The ones understand that, there is no perfect moment. Now is the perfect moment. And it's pretty much the psychology of fire, ready, aim.
Yeah, right.
Where these guys are more aim. You know where I'm going.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's a big one.
So actually putting it into play, learning from how it plays out, and then going and doing it again.
Oh, absolutely. Rinse and repeat, right? Rinse and repeat.
Right.
It's just a muscle, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I
Whatever.
still talk about, I remember from when I was down with you at the workshop, I love the saying you have, action is the name of the game.
And I talk about that in my book. The greatest treasures, the greatest rewards are reserved for the action takers. You can't think yourself into wealth. You can't hope yourself into financial freedom. You can't meditate yourself into passive income.
You need to do something to get it.
Get up off
Awesome.
your
All
ass.
right. So if I'm an
and take
action
action.
taker, or well, let's start there actually. If I'm not a natural action taker, how do I become one? What do I do? How do I change but I am, we'll have, we usually simplify people by saying they're analyticals or they're more the action
Creatives.
takers or creators. Yeah.
Creatives, yeah.
How do you take an analytical, and how can I mean, analytical is an amazing skill, right? That's great to analyze and understand the deal. But how do I take that and take my natural analytical side and become an action taker as well?
I think it all boils down to pain. Pain is one of the greatest energies that generates change. The people that are the most successful normally had the most amount of pain. You need three components to succeed big. Let me reframe that. You need at least two out of these three components to succeed big. Number one, you've got to have commitment. Number two, you've got to have hunger. Number three, you have to have pain. And if you have all three of those,
you're unstoppable.
Skyrocket.
Right.
Exactly.
So let's go through those one at a time. Define what does pain mean? That makes me really curious. What do you mean by pain here?
Well, let's look at it on the flip side. You've heard the word the comfort zone, right? People who live in their comfort zone, who are comfortable, who are in a warm and fuzzy place, I mean, why would they strive to push themselves, right?
Right. Like Jim Collins said, the good is the greatest enemy or the biggest enemy of great.
Exactly. And so, what a lot of people don't understand, so I do a lot of coaching for business owners, business leaders, entrepreneurs from all over the world, small businesses doing 1, 2, 3 million. My biggest clients do 400 million. And one of the key things that I always say to them, one of the key things that I'm always looking to identify is, first of all, how much pain do they really have? How bad do they want to achieve their outcome? And one of the key things that I see with a lot of people that reach out to me, a lot of people reach out to me when the pain is tremendous, which I think is a big and massive mistake. Let me explain. I get the call from the guy when he's saying to me, Arnon, I've got 3 months left of cash flow before I go bankrupt.
Right. I'm bankrupt if I don't fix everything tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my first question is, why didn't you call me a year ago?
Yeah.
And you know what they say?
Oh, I didn't have a reason to then. Yeah.
Because a year ago, everything was great.
Yeah.
Everything was hunky-dory a year ago. Now, here's the key question. When do you fix your roof? When the sun is shining or when there's a freaking hurricane outside?
Right. You want to say when the sun is shining, but I'm guessing experience have shown you that most people get out on that roof to fix it when the hurricane is running.
Exactly. Unfortunately. Yeah. And so what's really important is, when I'm working with people, I'm always looking for what is the underlying motivation and what is the pain. The pain is they've got, they know they've got more potential, but they're not reaching their full potential. They know that they're leaving a lot of money on the table, and ultimately it's driving them crazy. Their business is stagnating and employees are frustrated. They want to implement a strategy called, in your case, it would be DNN, Daniel Not Needed, right? Yeah. But they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to delegate. They don't know how to build the perfect business model. They don't understand that for an entrepreneur and a business owner, their ultimate job is to watch the game.
Yeah. And
enjoy it.
Yeah. Right.
And instead, they're doing the 9 to 7, 9 to 8, 9 to 9 o'clock at night. They're working 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, busting their balls and banging their head against the wall and saying, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people are delusional. They think entrepreneurship is it's a highway to heaven. And it often turns out to be a dirt road of pain.
Right.
Because they're not getting the coaching, they're not getting the education, they're not reading the books. I've actually lined up 4 books here for everyone listening to this that I think is going to add tremendous value, whether you're an entrepreneur, an investor, or just someone that wants to step into your power and play a bigger game.
Awesome. Well, we all love books. I mean, everyone listening obviously has taken the time to listen and learn and grow. So I know we're all hungry learners here. So please, share with us the knowledge.
Well, I've chosen 4 books for this conversation. Obviously, we spoke behind the scenes, and you told me where you would like for me to add value, and hence we're having this conversation. So I really dug deep. I mean, I've got, I'm very proud of my library. I always say to my students, the man who doesn't read the books has no advantage over the man who doesn't even know how to read them.
Yeah, true.
And if you think about it, I've never seen a multi-million dollar, multi-million euro, multi-million pound house without a library.
Right.
So surely if you do the maths, readers are leaders.
Yeah.
So I took a time out before this conversation to choose 4 books that I really truly believe that would help anybody, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a serial entrepreneur, you've got multiple businesses, whether your company is already doing millions and millions in sales and revenue, or whether you're just starting, or maybe you're just an employee right now and you realize that you weren't born to get paid 12 times in 365 days.
Yeah, good point.
So here are the 4 books. The first book is all about ownership. It's all about owning your situation, owning wherever you're at. A lot of people tend to look outside for solutions. They look outside for the answers, where instead all the answers are actually inside.
Right.
And they put blame on everybody else. It's the government's fault. It's my neighbor's fault. It's my wife's fault. It's my husband's fault. It's everybody else's fault, but it's not mine.
Yeah, exactly.
When I say to people, what's the reason you're not succeeding, or what's the reason that you haven't succeeded till now? I mean, they write down all these great excuses. There should only be one word on there. Me. So the first book is called, and you'll know these books. The first one is called Extreme Ownership.
Oh yeah, I love that one. That one is really, really good. I can definitely highly recommend that one. I actually listened to it on Audible. And it's a very well done Audible version as well. So if people like listening to it, I know some of these have such a dry speaker narrator that you want to shoot yourself halfway through. But this one is really, really well told. Yeah, 100% agree.
So Extreme Ownership. I think, people have always asked me, Arnon, if you could leave me with one pearl of wisdom, what is it? I always say the best way to help the poor is not to become one of them.
Yeah.
And so Ownership, Extreme Ownership, great book. By the way, I'm not getting paid for recommending any of these books, just to clarify.
It's all right. I'll add the Amazon affiliate links afterwards, so we're fine.
Go for it. But great book, Extreme Ownership. Love this book. If more people own their situation, own their life, and took responsibility, I think we would live in different times. So that's the first book, Extreme Ownership. Now, I always believe that there is no such thing as a self-made man or self-made woman. I don't believe in that. I've been very blessed. I've become very successful. I achieved my financial freedom by the age of 28. Today, I'm a multimillionaire. I own several businesses. I invest in property. I have a massive cryptocurrency portfolio. I'm very blessed. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Chainlink, etc. I'm doing well. Life's been kind towards me. But it obviously has come at a sacrifice, as you can see. But one of the key things that I've realized, without a doubt, because there's no such thing as a self-made man, is that there's always going to be people around us who help us climb. Yeah. There's always going to be an angel who will reach out to us and support us when we need support. And I truly believe that without other people, it's very difficult to climb to the top. And that's why I think it's really important to be able to communicate effectively, efficiently, and to be able to influence people in a good way, right? And so this is a book that I highly recommend every single person read it. It is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like I said, you know these books.
Classics,
These are the classics, my friend. These are the classics. And, you know, it's, you know, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And even on the back, it says the only book you need to lead you to success. So very, very powerful book. The ability to communicate effectively, to listen, to, you know, just to connect with people at a deeper level and to build trust. Yeah. Great book. The third book I've chosen, I think should be, I think there are a few books that every single human being.
Let me stop you there a moment. I just want to kind of highlight to everyone listening now is don't just listen to the book Arnon is recommending here. Listen to why he's recommending it. You hear that there's this whole background of knowledge we're getting, and then we get a book to go in deeper into that subject. I just want to highlight that because I know I easily start listening, just going, give me the book, give me the book, give me the book. But the story is the reason why you've chosen the book. You know, the ability to connect with people. Without that, we have no success. And you just lined up all the key parts of the book. It's the ability to listen, the ability to build trust, the ability to actually connect with someone. And it all starts with that ability to listen. There's a hilarious story in the book about how he sat at a dinner party and all he did was he let this woman talk to him and he just asked interested questions. And at the end of the evening, she was telling the hosts, that guy is such an amazing conversationalist. And he'd said 5 words the whole evening. He just said, correct. Wow, tell me more. And you know, that is the skill. So I love that. And the same with extreme ownership. That, I mean, the title says it all, but it goes in deep into how the Navy SEALs own their whole, that power. And as you say, if everyone owned their situation, as you didn't say the phrase that I learned from T. Harv Eker, but you were speaking around it, the whole, you know, your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. Correct. And if you don't take responsibility for your inner world, well, then someone else is going to force their world onto you, and you're going to be living someone else's reality instead of your own. So just, I don't want to stop you from saying book 3 because I really want to hear it. I just want to highlight that the lesson isn't the book. The lesson is why you're choosing the book, because that is powerful.
Perfect. Thank you for putting an emphasis on that. And very important. I've been guilty many of times of the same. Just give me the book. Just give me the book.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, I want to hear them. Just line up all 4. I'll read them. But if you don't understand what you're looking for in each book, you might actually miss the point, because a lot of these books are amazing stories, and then you start hearing the story instead of taking that key takeaway.
100%. The next book I have chosen, looking at the greatest teachers on the planet, looking at several very successful entrepreneurs, business owners, business leaders, in some way, in some shape, in some form, they've all come back to say one thing that is very interesting. They've all come back to say, I wish I would have thought bigger. In other words, they were thinking too small to begin with. And I've heard so many of the great teachers, the great thought leaders, the pioneers of personal development and business development, in some way, in some shape, in some form, all say, if I could go back 10, 20, 30 years and give my younger self advice, it would be to think bigger. Yeah. And that's why I've chosen this book, The Magic of Thinking Big.
Classic.
The Magic of Thinking Big. And the subtitle is The True Secret of Success, How to Earn More, Lead Fearlessly, and Live a Happier Life. I call that wealth creation. Great book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And then the last book that I have chosen is a book that is close to my heart. And the reason why I've chosen this book is because what people don't understand is that at any given time, you're going to be one or the other. You're either going to live in the energy of being a pleaser, someone who's, always looking to please others. And we all have that hat.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we have to wear that hat. So we all have two hats. The one is the hat of the pleaser, and the other is the hat of the rebel. The greatest entrepreneurs have always been rebellious. And so that's why I've chosen my book, Rebel Entrepreneur, How to Win the Game of Business and Break Free from What's Holding You Back. Because in it, I share more principles of what the most successful people do on the planet, what they do, how they do it, what I use every day that has taken me from someone who grew up without a father, living pretty much in poverty, since I was a young teenager, pretty much, in a situation where I had a single mom, trying to put food on the table for 3 children. And how did I go from that situation, a kid who was watching his mom struggle, and as a result, leaving school to clean floors, deliver sandwiches, and do all these jobs to help put food on the table, to someone by the age of 28 who became financially free. And a lot of those things I talk about in my book. And it's always a concept of, you've got to understand, you're either going to be a pleaser or you're going to be a rebel. And we all have to be both. We have to be sometimes the pleaser and sometimes the rebel. But I think a good mix would probably be something like 70-30, maybe 80-20 towards the rebel. Right. And so, if you're going to be a compliant person, if you're just going to do as you're told, follow instructions, that's good, but you have to break the rules. Yeah. And that's rebellious kind of thinking. So those are the 4 books that I've chosen.
I love it. I love it. So the 4 to read: Extreme Ownership, the How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Magic of Thinking Big, and Rebel Entrepreneur.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. I really, really appreciate that. Before we wrap up today's show, do you have any last kind of nugget that you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah. So if I could share any message with our listeners, entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, I'd go back to something that I actually talk about in my book, and that is to always remember that the greatest treasures on planet Earth are reserved for the action takers.
I love it. That's the way to end it. So everyone, to summarize what we've learned here today, action is the name of the game. Got to take that extreme ownership. You got to make sure you can connect with people. You have to have the courage to think big. You got to be that rebel that allows you to stand out and do that little extra to take that next step. I highly recommend you pick up all 4 of those books. I definitely sign under on all 4. They're brilliant. So Arnon, thank you so much for joining us today. If we want to learn more from you, how do we get in contact with you? Obviously, we pick up the book, but what else can we do to connect and learn more from you?
Yeah, thanks. So first of all, I welcome and invite every single person that wants to take their game, their money, their finances, their wealth, their happiness, their life to the next level. I welcome all of them to connect to me on Instagram. My handle is Arnon Barnes. To connect to me on Facebook, Arnon Barnes. And of course, you can check out my website, which is arnonbarnes.com.
Awesome. And I'll add links to all that plus Arnon's book in the show notes here below, so you can take a look at that. Arnon, thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone who listened, thank you so much. Make sure you pick up these books. They will change your life if you haven't read them yet. And I got some exciting news in a moment, so stick with us and I'll share that with you soon.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that episode. There are some powerful lessons in there, so I hope you implement them. Next week, we got a very exciting show because we're answering the question, what does it take to go from an employee to start investing in property? You're already working 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, and then you're adding on this property investing journey. Is it possible and can you succeed? Well, Charlie Dalander does believe it is true, that you can succeed, and he is the proof. He has gone through the Momentum Property Education Mentorship Program, and he is successfully doing property deals. In the next episode, he's going to share with you about that journey, about how you can do the same. So please make sure you subscribe to the Momentum Property Education channel, the Momentum Investing podcast, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.